All right, well, welcome back, everybody. So last night, well, 4 a.m. this morning, we're laying in bed back there in the camper, and I get woke up out of a dead sleep with popping lightning, horrible winds, rain pelting the side of the camper. Bad way to wake up. I thought I was back in another tornado there for a second. Heart racing, just going crazy. That's a 42 by 80 pole barn back there. Every single thing underneath it was wet. The wind was blowing in sideways that hard. Just one of those storms rolled off the Gulf last night. Typically we don't get them that early in the morning. Things are cooled down, but man, did it get us. It's been raining all morning, so I'm walking out here to look at the rain gauge, see what we got. Of course, who knows if we got much with it blowing sideways. Well, it only says a little over half an inch. Find that hard to believe, but I guess that is believable. The storm come through real quick and fast, and just put it down for just a few minutes and just gave us a lot of wind and lightning. So you probably can't see behind me, but in the distance there's a lot more rain coming on the radar. I don't know if it's gonna rain out before it gets here. Actually, it's got a little drops hitting me right now. But the plan today is to clean that old nasty, raggedy garden up. It is now time to plant a fall garden. I'm probably gonna wait a couple more weeks before I do the majority of what I put out there, which is like lettuce, maybe some spinach, broccoli, cauliflower. That stuff really does not like the heat at all. I've got some beans soaking in there. Been reading up. A lot of people say, hey, you can do pole beans and bush beans in the fall. Never really done that before. So we're gonna try some of that as well, especially since I got a trellis up out there. So those are soaking. But what I'm about to do is jump in the tractor. We're gonna go start ripping and cleaning all that junk up out there. I've been killing the grass off, and I'll talk a little bit about all that. We're gonna get that thing looking good again, start planting right back over. Thanks for watching. Well, if y'all can hear that thunder, I think I'm about to get run out of here. But in the meantime, go ahead and pull up all these weeds and junk that I let go. I should have got my butt out here a lot quicker than I have. That's okay. We'll get this right back where it needs to be. Well, got our first load. I've got an entire full bucket of weeds just from 2 garden beds. So, whoo, I let that go too long. But we're gonna go out and dump them, and I'm just gonna put these out in the woods because there's so much weed seed in that bucket. I don't wanna go put this in my compost pile just to replant weeds. So there's a little bit of vegetables and things over there, but just due to me not wanting to, like I said, put a bunch of weeds in my compost pile, I think it's a smarter choice if I dump all this. All right, as y'all may be able to see, all my grass is killed off other than a few areas that I missed. And those of y'all that's been with the channel for a while know that I use a propane weeder to come in here and kill everything off. And it got so wet today, my plan was to come in here and burn all this dead stuff off and kind of get it back to dirt. This fall, my plan is to do a bunch of wood chips out of my PTO wood chipper for my tractor and layer all this and make it look very, very nice. Now, I'll try to see if I can figure it out. I'm new to YouTube. I didn't want to show you this propane burning here because I've done showed it so many times on the channel, but I'll try to remember to put one of those little things up here or here. There it is. Okay, showing that last video. But if you don't want to click off of this video to watch that propane weeding, I'll also include it at the end of the video to where it'll pop up. So if you'll stick around for that, you can see how I use a propane weed burner to kind of come in here and naturally kill everything off instead of using a bunch of herbicides. Thunder and lightning's on the way. Radar looks bad. Don't know if I'm gonna get all this knocked out, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump in this corn patch here and see if we can get that cleaned up and at least get 3 beds looking good before this rain gets here. And I want to show y'all my compost pile. It has changed dramatically. It's breaking down so much. I bet it's probably close to 1/3 the size that it was several months back. So that's crazy how much it's breaking down. Alright, now I want to show y'all something. This pile just a few months ago was, I mean, way up here. It's amazing how much it's broke down. I mean, I guess that's to be expected, but I just didn't expect it to break down as much as it did. Now, all this pile mainly is wood chips, but you can still see on the outside, but as soon as I get into it, it's breaking down. This is wood chips from my tractor PTA wood chipper. And I just piled them up here to let them break down. And I've been coming out here with garden scraps and putting in the center. As a matter of fact, all these vines are cantaloupes, to where I buried a bunch of cantaloupes. But they'll die off here before long because they just won't grow into the fall. So I think what I'm gonna do real quick while I'm here with the tractor, with the bucket on it, is turn this. I try to come out here every couple of months and just turn the pile over anyways, get some of that dark, hot compost that's in the middle and kind of flip it all to the outside. But this is breaking down nicely. Maybe by next year, I can top off some of my garden beds with this. Tell y'all what, it looks a whole lot different once you get into the inside and start flipping it. You can kind of see how dark and rich this is. It's breaking down nicely. And it's nice and warm too, which lets me know it's working on the inside. I would love for this pile to be a lot bigger than this, but I'm happy with what I got. This will top off several garden beds come next year, and I'll keep adding to it. Eventually my plan is, once we get a bunch of animals, is to start real big piles down here somewhere else in the property once I get hay and manure and things like that, and I'll constantly add all my wood chips to it. So I plan on making like a renewable compost pile here, to where every single year, as my garden beds kind of break down and as you pull stuff out like I did today in loose soil, I've got somewhere to come add some of that back. So this is something I plan on doing a lot in the future, is building more compost piles. Of course. Of course, it starts raining with one bed left. Story of my life. All right, so you can see what I've done. I went around with a grubbing hoe and loosened up the soil in all the beds, because they were starting to get a little bit compacted from all the rain and watering throughout the year. So a good loose soil bed is what you want for root growth. So I've loosened all that up, got a little bit more trash out of there, and smoothed it off as best I could. Now I'm pretty much done. I went ahead and soaked some beans because like I was telling you earlier, I've heard that you can do beans in the fall. I never have, but why not? We would love to have some more beans. Ours wasn't very successful earlier this year. It got so hot, it just wiped them out. So I'm gonna do some pole beans to see if I can get to climb on this trellis. We're still 3 months away easy from frost. And then I've got a few bush beans left, these white ones, that I'll just kind of stick throughout, and I'll make this bed right here behind me my bean bed. All right, so I've got all my beans planted now, and just lightly watered them in just to pack them, kind of get rid of any air pockets. I don't want to water them much more because they're calling for a lot of rain over the next several days. It's been raining here all day long. You can see what's coming right now. The Gulf is just full of moisture. So I'm expecting a lot of rain. Maybe they won't hurt us. Oh, one bean I forgot to pack down in there. All right, now you can look out here in the rest of the garden and see what I've got going on. I've got all the beds fluffed up. They're not compacted no more, and I got the majority of the stuff cleaned down. Everything else would just kind of break down and compost. I kind of let the garden go this year. You know, once I got done picking, I just forgot about it, got on so many other chores, and it got nasty. But I'm about to take it back over. So I'm getting my beds back. I've got the majority of this grass killed. You can see there's quite a bit of green spots I got to come out here and hit with the weed burner. And I want to burn all this off once we finally get a few dry days where this grass will catch on fire, and then it'll just burn it off back to bare dirt. Like I said, the plan down the road is come in, layer this entire area with chips. So moving forward, what I think I'm going to do, I'm not filling all these beds up with fall stuff. We just don't plant that big of a fall garden. I want to wait till we get well into September, maybe even close to October, before I do the rest of the vegetables, things like lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, all that. It really likes cooler weather around here, and it can be burning up hot in September here, or you can get a couple cool fronts. You just never know. But in the last few years, it's been hot, a very hot summer. So I'm thinking the later I plant that stuff, the better. I also plan on doing like a winter squash, cabbage. So there'll be several things like that. So let's see here. Beans, squash, cabbage, lettuce, cauliflower, broccoli. That should be plenty for a fall garden for us. So the okra, oh man, it goes through spells. It'll almost die off when it gets really hot, and then we'll get a bunch of these overcast rainy days where it's cool. It'll start flowering up again like it's doing now, and it just keeps putting on. I mean, I've got okra every day. You can see I got to come out here in just a few minutes and start cutting. So okra everywhere, and what it's doing something I've never seen before. It just grows so well in this compost. It's starting to put shoots off the bottom of the plants, flower out, and put okra again. So it's like you got a bunch of new plants coming up. You can just see tops of the stalks are kind of petering out, or the middle section tops are putting on, I guess I should say, and the bottoms are now flowering out and growing. So I don't know how long this okra is going to produce, but we have been canning pickle okra like mad. I don't know, we probably got 50 cans in there now, and we're just going to keep going. We love the stuff. It tastes so good. But here is something crazy. Now yes, it's in a raised bed and probably 8 inches off the ground, but have you ever in your life seen okra this tall? I'm 5'10". I can reach to about over 7 foot. That's 8 foot tall okra, I guess, minus the few inches it's in a bed. Have you ever ever seen okra get this tall? So again, it's just a testament to this compost that I used this year. My sweet corn was as beautiful as I've ever seen, as big as I've ever seen, and I've never had okra produce this much, this long, and get anywhere near this tall. Normally okra, a good stand of okra in the ground might get right here on me. So this is crazy. I am absolutely loving raised bed gardening. I'm loving the compost. I think it's the right way to go for years to come. Last but not least, I mean, the peppers are still putting on like crazy. You can see the flowers everywhere. They're all different colors, and that's mainly because I just don't have time to eat all these. I've been giving them away, been eating some, so they're turning different colors. The red ones you can still eat. Some are getting too far gone, but they're beautiful. I mean, I'm loaded with jalapenos over there. Look at these banana peppers over here. I got bell peppers still putting on. So pepper plants are loving this, and in my experience they'll put on another couple of months. So one last thing before we wrap this up, something I've been meaning to tell y'all. A lot of y'all cautioned me earlier this year when I planted Cuban peppers right by jalapenos. Y'all said, oh no, they'll cross-pollinate and your Cuban peppers will be extremely hot. Well, I tell y'all what, something weird happened. The exact opposite happened. My jalapenos, they're stunted in growth. They get about this big, and they're as sweet as I have ever tasted in my life. I had a buddy come over, he tried some, he was blown away. You can literally pick them, bite right into them, and chew them up, and they're sweet, like a Cuban pepper, kind of like a bell pepper. So I've never seen that happen before. So they obviously did cross-pollinate, but it didn't make things hotter. They got sweeter. So it was the exact opposite of what a lot of people thought would happen. I've never had that happen before, but I've never planted a bunch in a box like this either. So something I'll keep in mind for the future. I'm loving the Cuban peppers. I'm going to plant them every year from here on out. We've actually been bacon wrapping and stuffing those. They got a very similar flavor to a bell pepper. Excellent pepper. I appreciate my friend giving me some, turning me on to these, so I'll be planting those for years to come. So a lot more garden videos are going to be coming up, some more projects around here. Yes, eventually we're going to get back on the storm shelter over here. Life's just been very busy, and I knew I better go ahead and get this garden started and for sure get those beans in the ground. So I'll keep y'all updated on all of this. We'll plant some more stuff coming up. And thank y'all so much for watching.